It's great when your eBay listings really pop and stand out with a bright white background in the listings view. And there are lots of ways to make it happen. I'm going to show you how to tweak your almost white background photos just using the eBay photo editor that is in the Everyday Listing tool on the desktop. Here's what the different buttons in the eBay photo editing suite do. And you probably know this, but I'll just go over it quickly. This is the crop tool. If you click it, you get a crop that's the minimum size that you can use. And to use it, you just drag it out by a corner. You can also hold down Shift to drag it out constrained. So for example, if you want to have a perfect square, it gives you a perfect square to begin with. Hold down Shift and drag, and it will stay square as you drag out the sides of the box. And you hit save to complete the crop. This tool obviously is for rotating. It does this. Very self-explanatory. This tool is for sharpening, and it basically takes your information in your photograph and interpolates pixels in between the ones you have to add information that isn't actually there, making your image crisper. At least that's what I think it's doing. So usually I don't use this button because I think it's creating a false sense of what the photo, what the image, what the item looks like. For example, you see this, it's kind of soft. It's, 120 some odd years old. It's kind of like got some soft edges to it. And if I use sharpen and go all the way up, it gets really crispy in a way that it isn't in real life. So it's not as accurate a representation. In a few cases, if your photo is actually blurry, using a small amount of sharpening can help a bit, but not if the actual item is smushy and blurry in itself. So I'm not going to do that. This is the magic auto adjust thingy. I never use this. It's a tool that lets eBay just guess what's going to make your picture look better. So let's try it. Yeah, it made it more yellow, kind of made the background a little whiter, but not thoroughly. So I don't know, I'm not into that. I don't think it does any wonders for improving photos, so let's not use that. And then the subject of most of the rest of this video is actually this tool, the brightness and contrast tool, which when used judiciously and without exaggeration can really help your photos look better, like so. Voila. And I'll show you more examples and explain my thinking as I go. Okay, so I took some photos and they're okay, but they're close up and there wasn't quite enough light to make the background totally white. And that's pretty normal. Most of the time, totally white backgrounds are tweaked in post-processing, shall we say. But I just do some quick adjustments in the eBay listing tool to make these look a little better. So here's the 3 photos I'm going to use in this listing. It's a saint's medal. And as they load, I will click this one. And so you see it's okay, but it's very dull and kind of low contrast. It's also could be closer. I mean, I took sort of macro picture, but it's not filling up very much of the space in the eBay square. So I want to fix that too. First thing I'm going to do is to crop it. So we get this square, which is sort of as small as you should go without getting an eBay warning that your picture is too small. and I'm gonna crop it much better. And now I'm going to adjust the brightness and contrast using this sun button. So this is the brightness, and I want to adjust it until the background goes white. There we are. But what's happened when I did this is that it made the contrast even lower, or to appear even lower. So I'm going to now boost the contrast a little till we get some of the detail and color back. And there, that looks a lot better. We'll hit save. And there we have an image that's going to look great when you see it in the listing preview and when you look at the listing. This is also high res, so we can look at it really big, see all the detail. You can see in comparison, this one I didn't fix, which is the back of this medal, looks really sad. So I'm going to fix that too. Sometimes, depending on the item, I'll just make the first image look fantastic and then leave the other ones, but we'll fix this one too. So just jump up the brightness and then the contrast, and it's a little bit over brassy, so I'm just going to tweak and tweak until it looks right again. And there we go. Of course, I know what this looks like in real life, and that's helpful in keeping it to a realistic coloration. And we might as well do the last one while we're here, which is my ruler image. And just there we go. And that's it for that one. Here's another one, something different. This is a postcard that I didn't want to run through my scanner because it has a lot of mica, i.e. Edwardian glitter, on it, and I didn't want that getting stuck in my scanner, so I took a photo. The color of the background is telling me that the color is sort of off. In a perfect world, whites are white and blacks are black and grays are neutral in between, but here we have the white is a gray. So first of all, this is sideways, which we will fix. Oops, went too far. Okay. And second of all, we don't need this much border, so I'm going to crop it a little bit. But it's not perfectly straight, so I can't crop it exactly to the edge because I didn't take the photo totally straight. So we'll get as close as possible within reason. And you can do all these steps without saving in between, by the way. You can just keep editing until you're done and then hit save, but I'm saving for the sake of clarity. All right, now let's look at the brightness and contrast on this photo. So this area should be a sort of off-white, and this area outside in the white background should be a pure white. So let's boost that until it gets close to white. All right, that looks pretty good. The shadow areas are still shadowed, but I don't want to go too far. See, that blows it out way too much. So I'm going to keep it so that this top area goes to white and the shadows stay shadowy. And that also gives it a sense of place and dimension in a way. And then I'm going to adjust the contrast till the color seems better. In this case, I need to lower it a little, I think. This postcard is kind of a gross color. The purple mica, well, it's clear mica on top of purple painting, is a little bit of a gross color. I think this is where we want to be. We have off-white and white, and this gross color is real. And so that's about where I want to put it. And we'll hit save. And I don't usually adjust the backs of postcards too much, but I will make this the right orientation. And just while we're here, I'll give it a crop for fun. All right. And that one is done. Here's another one. Here we have two white iridescent pearl buttons. And so we're going for a white on white thing here. They can still look better than they are in the raw photo. Again, I'm happy with the crop on this one, so I'm just going to do the brightness and contrast. I'm going to move the brightness up until it hits white, and that's way too high. Even if I move up the contrast, it just totally blows them out. This is a problem when you're shooting white objects on a white background. So let's bring the contrast back down. In fact, let's reset it to 0 for both and start again. 0, 0. Maybe we can boost the contrast a little. I want to go further than here. It's starting to blow out. See that? It's losing detail in the highlights. That's blowing out. And let's see how far we can take the brightness before it starts to look wrong. And you see how the detail is disappearing in the shadows? And it's making it look fake and weird, especially on the square oblong button. Yeah, it's bad. So on this one, I can only improve it a little bit. I'm gonna just leave it here. It's slightly better than it was, but it's not that fabulous white on white background dream that we might have, because it's not really possible without a lot of fancy lighting and stuff. I could have taken this picture on a dark background, which probably would have been the answer that I'm looking for in this case, but these are just some cheap buttons. It's not a big deal. I think this is going to be fine. So we'll save those. We'll look at the backs. Maybe we can improve these a little bit more because there's more color in the square oblong one. Yeah, it's okay. Kind of, no, I like it. This one we can make look pretty good. And then in the one with the ruler, I don't think it's gonna get too much better. We can brighten it up a little. We can boost the contrast a little, but we can't take it all the way to white. In fact, that still looks funny. Let's tone it down. Keep it at 10 and 12, which is what we used in the first one, I believe. So that's as good as that's gonna get, but it's not really worth fixing it anymore. In fact, probably wasn't even worth bothering to go in and do it on this one. So choose your battles with post-production on your photos. And in fact, the more you can take photos that look spectacular from the get-go, the better. But like I said, it's hard to get pure white on a lot of these when you're moving fast and you're not adjusting the lighting and stuff. So, and here I just hit create listing and I see the preview of how it looks, and it's really not too bad. I feel like I get a good idea of what these look like against this grayish background, even though in real life it was white. But it needs to be gray for me to see these white buttons, so I'm pretty happy with that. Here's another one. Here's a portrait of a little girl in a white dress. And there are two ways I could fix this. And by fix it, I mean hide some of the dirt on my background, which it gets dirty so fast when you're shooting old stuff, especially old books. They're so sheddy. But anyway, I could boost this up and make the background white, but it's not a good idea in this case, and I'll show you why. So if I use the brightness and I go up, 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 till it turns white, get rid of that thing. Okay, it's white, and that's great. It's now a little washed out, so I'll boost the contrast as well. And look, all the detail has gone from her dress, which is also white. And this being a decently taken photograph, I mean the actual subject here, not my photograph of the photograph, the whites should be almost white and the black's black, and you can see the blacks are starting to go gray even in the shadows here. So this is not really good color representation of this photo. We're gonna cancel it. See, there's much more detail in there in real life. and the contrast is much better. Sorry that keeps popping up, but in real life, in this photo, the blacks are black in the darkest parts, and the whites are white only in the brightest parts, but have detail still, where they're not 100% white, and the grays are gray, and so forth. So instead of even adjusting this, I think this is actually a pretty good capture of what this photo looks like. I'm going to just crop it, and we can do a fairly close crop because it's fairly straight. It's not perfect, but it's close. And once I do that, we'll have the same effect as it being on a pure white background. And I think that's the way to go with this one. I'm also using this close-up as my initial photo of this funny little girl's face to get attention, and then you can see the whole thing, and then you can see the back, which again, very dirty background, Danny. I'm going to just crop that out a bit. Again, probably not worth my time on this particular item, but it's just an example. There we go. All right, so that's some basic philosophy, if you will, of whitening up your backgrounds on photos in the eBay listing tool. There's tons of other ways to do it, but that is one expedient way. Hope it's helpful. Thanks, and take care.